Yo guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. Don't mind my hair, it might be a little messy. It is the weekend, but that means today we get to do some work on the KTM 250 right back here. So if you guys haven't seen the last video, I will link it in, I believe, the top right of your screen, somewhere in the top of your screen. A link to the last video, and in that video we tore down our cylinder head and just kind of went through some of our other parts for the bike. Today we're going to be tearing into this bottom end, giving everything a really good inspection and seeing if we need to replace anything. So we have the bottom end sitting right over here, and if you guys can see right over here, we actually got a lot of parts in already for the top end. So I have completely ordered a brand new KTM OEM cylinder. I also have both brand new OEM cams, ton of new gaskets, all the seals, all the gaskets we'll need to completely rebuild the whole motor. We have a lot of parts in so far, and then of course there are some components we are going to reuse that are still good for the cylinder head, and all that stuff I'm going to go into more depth in another video when we actually start assembling things. But today we're just going to be tearing down the bottom end and giving that a really good inspection, just so we can make sure we can say for sure that this engine's going to have a clean bill of health when it's time to put everything back together. So yeah, I think first thing we're going to do is just get started right away, pull off some of these covers. Honestly, I haven't really worked too much on KTM, so this is going to be a little bit of a learning experience for me. But I'm pretty sure I have pretty much all the tools I'm going to need here already. But hypothetically, if everything checks out fine and we wanted to, we could totally put this thing back together today. We should have all the seals and gaskets that we need for the whole engine. But hey, you know, there could be things that we need to buy, there could be things that end up being missing. You never know. You know, at the end of the day, I didn't tear this motor down to the state where it is now, so anything could happen. But with that being said, let's get started on tearing into this thing. Alright, so I'm going to get started tearing into the motor. Here I'm going to start on the ignition side of the engine, so here on the left side, and we're majority of the way torn down on the right side, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, there's still a couple things that we're going to have to remove. But here I'm going to start on the left side, and then we'll work our way over to the right side, because the goal here is to remove all the outer accessories, so that way we can split the cases and just examine everything internally going on in the bottom end. Alright guys, so we got the cases split right here behind me, and so far I'm really liking what I'm seeing. The only thing I've found that looks out of the ordinary is this little piece of plastic I found, just kind of chilling at the bottom of the motor. It's hard to say whether this came from the actual failure of like the plastic gears, or if maybe it fell in the motor at some point. Both things are quite possible. But no matter what, everything else is actually looking really good. All the oil inside the motor is looking really clean. I don't see any weird wear patterns, anything really that's drawing any red flags. And honestly, like, this motor must be pretty low hour, because everything looks extremely good. Everything still looks pretty fresh. And this bike definitely doesn't have like an excessive amount of hours on it. Just looking at all of our wear items and everything, guys, everything looks perfect. Which is really awesome. Now, of course, we have the cases split, so I'm gonna go in and do all new seals. Literally every gasket and seal on this engine, we're putting in a new one. We're gonna keep the bottom end bearings because, again, everything looks perfect. But we're just gonna go through everything and we're gonna clean it up really well. So I'm gonna get the transmission out of here. I'm probably gonna take the crank out too, give that a really good inspection, and just double check everything. But so far, we're looking really good, guys. Alright guys, so we got the bottom ends completely torn down right behind me, and everything honestly looks really good. Our crank looks great, our main bearings look great, seals all look great, even though we're going to be going in and replacing every single seal anyway. And everything honestly looks really good. I can tell just by looking at the internals on this engine that this bike didn't have too many hours, didn't have an excessive amount of hours on it, which is a good thing because, well, the rest of the bike, wear and tear on that is going to be pretty minimal as well. So we're looking pretty good overall. There are a couple parts I'm going to order. There were a couple little Allen head bolts that kind of rounded and didn't really want to come out, so I'm going to order a couple of those, as well as I think one or two of these transmission bearings are just a tiny bit notchy. I think it's because during teardown, tearing down engines can be messy. Some dirt got in there, and we also bought the bike with the top end off the motor, so it's possible, with the motor being open, and of course us tearing it down, that a little bit of debris got just kind of worked into one of these little ball bearings here, and it's just making it a little bit harder to turn. But I'm going to replace those anyway because those ball bearings are super easy to plop out and put in. All the other bearings look great. Everything looks absolutely flawless. If there's any type of resistance when I spin a bearing, I'm going to replace it, and everything checked out besides, again, like one or two ball bearings. I'll show you guys here which ones in a second. But that's not going to be a big deal. We'll just throw some new ones in there and call it a day. I'm not stressing over it, and we want this thing to be dialed. While we're in here, we want to make sure everything's good to go, and that's what we're doing here. So here on the right side, it's these two bearings right here that I felt just a little bit of notchiness in. So this one, they still spin freely, but it's just not quite as free as like pretty much all the other ones. All the other ones are literally perfect, silky smooth. Main bearings look great. Nice thing about these main bearings too is we can also not only just spin them, but also physically look at each roller, and all these rollers look pretty much brand new. Good stuff. But yeah, just these two bearings right here. I'm going to be swapping these two out. I'm probably going to swap these other ones out too as well. But yeah, overall, we're looking pretty good. I'm going to get those parts on order, and then in the next video, we're probably going to be able to assemble the motor. I'm still waiting on a couple small parts. I'm still waiting on my revised oil pump gears to come in, so I bought some aluminum ones, and a couple other little small odds and ends here and there. But we have the bulk of our parts. Like, we actually have our complete gasket kit over there, our new cylinder head, our new cams. We have all that stuff in already. Just a couple small parts we're waiting on. And yeah, I'm gonna get these parts on order, and in the next video we're probably gonna be putting this engine together. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video of the teardown, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Subscribe so you guys don't miss any upcoming videos of this little revival series I'm doing here on the KTM. But yeah, see you guys in the next one. Peace.